feet placement for center to edge aiming. I've said very little about proper foot placement over the past few years, and primarily that has been because I didn't feel like I had the proper information to convey. So I've been a little bit general in that sense, even though it's been easy to get a person generally in the right position and maybe a proper tight position, but that's never really suited me. The nature of centered edge aiming is that the eyes lead and the body follows. So during my course of working with center to edge aiming, everything that I've ever had questions about has always unfolded in a very fundamentally correct manner, whether it's been visually or physically. So most of the answers have been very simplistic, and this one is as well. So what we're going to do is just take a look at feet placement for the right-hander. The foot placement that we're really going to be more concerned with is the left foot. The right foot is a lot easier to explain, and then of course that's just reversed for the left-handed player. So I'm going to set up with what looks like a 15 and inside with these oversized balls, and what is critical about the left foot placement for a right-handed player is that it is in centered edge aiming. The foot should be parallel with the pre-pivot line. Now that sounds like a mouthful, but it's really quite simple. So here's my 15. The 15 gives me two fixed edges on the cue ball, which gives me a fixed center. Well, I know the pivot comes from the inside, so there's my pre-pivot line, you might say. So that simply means that my left foot is going to be parallel with this line. So if this is that line, then my left foot is going to position itself parallel to that line there. So if I'm looking at this 15 and inside, my eyes are going to see that visual. It's going to see the inside pre-pivot line, and it's also going to the knowledge of which way to pivot is part of this too. So my foot is going to go to this line, and it's going to be parallel with this pre-pivot position here. Then I just turn to center. Now my right foot is going to be turned sideways to some extent for balance, and the butt of the cue is going to intersect over this foot. I'd say most of the people that I work with, the butt of the cue is going to intersect the right foot somewhere in this area of the foot. Sometimes it's all the way out here at the toe. Sometimes it's in closer to the heel, depending on the height of the person and the structure of their body. But this foot's going to be turned sideways to allow good balance and comfort, and the cue should intersect the right foot in that manner for a right-handed player, just the reverse for a left-handed player. So if I were to adjust this position here to a 15 and outside, there's my 15, there's my fixed cue ball, there's my outside line. So now this foot is going to be placed on this line right here, parallel with that line. So it would look something like this. So I know the 15, I know it's to the outside, so this foot's going to go into that position, and then I just pivot to center from there. So you have to know the visual, know the pivot direction, and then your left foot as a right-handed player will just go on that pre-pivot line. It's a very simple concept. Very precise placement can be had for most every shot. Now there's sometimes on the table when the upper body sort of takes over and the feet are just in the most comfortable position you can get them in. Sometimes you're having to stretch out with one foot, but we're talking about those shots to where you have a choice to really position yourself in a very strong presentation for full stance. So one more time, if we have a 30 to the inside, then there's my 30. There's my position at ball address, so my pre-pivot line is to the inside. So now this foot is going to be right here. So my eyes are leading my feet into this position. This is not a system where the feet are planted first. The eyes lead the body into the correct position. Specifically here we're talking about the feet. So I don't know where my feet go at this point. Once I establish a 30 and the shot is to the inside, now the eyes, my information left brain-wise you might say, is leading me into this position right here. My foot's parallel to the cue in this position. My right foot will find the cue intersecting somewhere around the toe box. So this feels really awesome. It's correct and something that you can easily duplicate as a user of centered edge aiming. Now what I'm going to do is just spread 10 balls out on the table and run the balls and just discuss my feet placement, particularly my left foot. Of course, you're just going to reverse this for left-handed play. This is the 15 and inside. So there's my inside line. So this left foot is parallel to my cue at this point, right there. So my right foot is intersecting the butt of the cue. So I'm just going to try to keep this as simple as I can, but since I'm talking, it's a little bit tougher. So this is an inside 15. So my left foot's going to be parallel with this line here. So I'm just going to try to shoot soft and hold position here. And I think I'm just going to try to keep the cue ball movement minimal here and just sort of kill this ball. So this pivot comes from the outside, so my foot's going to be parallel with the pre-pivot line right here. So when I drop in on this shot, my foot now is parallel. So I'm just going to pivot to center and just try to hold the angle on the 4. Now on this shot here, I'm just going to do a disguised pivot. I'm going to come in from the left. That's ever so slightly of a left cut. So my foot's going to be parallel right with my cue, in line with the shot. So we'll do a left sweep. I'm going to pull the cue right to the inside of my body across my face. My tip's at center. I'm aimed at the contact point line. I'm just going to get back out to center. This is a 15 and inside, so there's the inside line. My foot's going to be parallel right there. So I've got to decide if I want to mess with this 9 or somehow try to get over here. I don't really like messing with this 9. I may just try to come back down to this side. So my left foot is parallel with the shot line at this point. Okay, that's okay. Because now I can just play the cue ball position toward the pocket, and here I just don't want to scratch. So I'm just going to try to control my speed here because I'm crossing the angle. So I'm going to jack up my cue just a little bit so I can add a little backhand English on this ball. This is a 30 and inside, so my left foot's going to go parallel with this inside pre-pivot position. So I've got an elevated cue. I'm in the 30. Then I'm going to go to center. I'm going to add just a touch of spin and just cross the angle with nice cue ball speed. Now I'm just going to go 2 rails. So I'm going to spin this ball, so I'm going to adjust my V. I know where the V goes for making the ball. So my V is going to be moved over to the right as I sweep into this shot. This is an outside pivot here, so my left foot is in line with this right here. And then when I drop down, instead of putting my V for straight in, my V is going to move over to the right. This is obviously based on experience and judgment. So there goes my foot, parallel. There goes my bridge adjustment. Alright, that wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm just going to try to keep this simple. Get straight in on the 9, play the 10 up here. So if I could get right there, I should be good. So this is a 30 and inside, so my line is right here. So my foot's going to be parallel with that line, at least for a moment. And then I'm going to end up being on 1 foot. Now I'm just going to pivot to center and just float right down between the side pockets. Now just shoot a stop shot. See, this is one of these positions to where the left foot doesn't matter. Once you're butted up against this table squarely like this, now it's more of a comfort issue because your upper body's controlling the shot. So there's my 15 from the outside, and I'm just going to do a disguised pivot right here, right into center. I'm going to back this ball up about 2 inches. This is a 15 and inside. 15 and inside. That means my left foot's going to be parallel with this line. So, as I drop in, there goes my foot, parallel to the line. So I get the perfect 15 right here. And that was a little bit of a rough run out, but basically I did what I wanted to do. You know what I really like about what I just did there is that I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was doing visually for every shot. I knew what I was doing physically for every shot. All the way from my sweeps to what I did with my stroke, to where I placed my feet, particularly my left foot. The right foot is more of a balance kind of thing, comfort kind of thing, but nonetheless it's very important. So, you know, center to edge allows you to unravel your game. I've played this game for a lifetime, and I never had success in unraveling the game from a traditional approach. With centered edge aiming, that all changed. So I'm happy to share this stance information with you because I think it can help you greatly in your journey with CTE. Thank you very much.